What's up guys, my name is Liam, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the DrunkDeer A75 Master. I've been using these DrunkDeer keyboards for a long time, as they are the second Hall effect keyboard that I ever used after the Wooting 60HE, and I've always wondered what it'd be like if they did come out with a more premium option, since from the beginning they've always been kind of a budget brand. So in this video I'm going to be breaking down how my experience with this keyboard has been so far, and hopefully by the end of this video I'll be able to help you decide whether or not this could possibly be the perfect gaming keyboard for you. So let's check it out. And before we get started today, I did want to let you know that this was sent out to me. However, everything you're going to be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. So this does come included in a hard zip-up carrying case, which I really do appreciate, especially with how heavy this keyboard is, in case you wanted to move it around or even just store it. Nice that you'll be able to do so without having to worry about it getting damaged. Inside this case, it really does come with a lot of stuff. It was inside of this like velvety, very soft feeling bag. Lots of padding in here, and it actually does come with a ton of accessories. You do get a screwdriver. This does look like it is a really fancy switch puller as well. Some additional switches that do come included, pieces of foam. You also do get just a bunch of extra screws. I do believe these screws are made out of tempered glass, which is what is on the external side of the case. So really cool. It does come with extra screws like that. Also does come with some additional screws for putting the case together. A bunch of different types of Allen wrenches. You'll actually need one of these Allen wrenches if you do want to open this up. And then it also does come with their premium style of a USB-C to USB Type-A cable. So here we got the keyboard itself. Like I said, this thing is very heavy. We'll throw it on the scale here in just a little bit. But as you can see, it does have a pretty unique and different design, considering the fact that it does have this tempered glass all around the edges. This is a bigger layout, obviously 75, which I am a fan of, and it does have a volume wheel up here. So just in general, the feeling and layout of this I really have been enjoying a lot. The one thing about this keyboard though is a fingerprint magnet, so I'm going to try and be careful as I'm picking it up and touching it. The design of the tempered glass, which I do think is cool. Again, it does have these screws in here, and all of these tempered glass pieces are held in by these screws as well. So if you wanted to remove this, you can do so. It does have the USB-C connectivity over here on the left hand side. Taking a quick look over here at the back, it does have these rubberized feet up in each one of the corners. The tempered glass down here on the bottom as well. I really do actually like the look of this tempered glass. Definitely pretty unique. You can remove this tempered glass if you need to do so. You don't have to take it off to open up this case. These screws you will need to undo is just right here in the corner. So this is actually a very simple case to remove and take apart. DrunkDeer is always doing a good job at trying to just be really innovative in the market. The tempered glass is another perfect example. They're always trying to come out with like all these unique different types of just spring or gasket type systems to give you a bit more of a unique typing experience as well. So that's one thing I really do like about them. I will say, however, that I do generally just prefer heavier and more solid feeling types of keyboards myself. So truly this one is just kind of speaking to me and right up the alley of what I generally look for. Again, very heavy this thing is. We'll go ahead and drop it here on the scale really quick, and looks like it's so heavy that my scale doesn't even register it. So this thing really is no joke. Here's a closer shot of these transparent keycaps that do come included with this. These ones do have a bit of texture on the top, and they do feel a little bit on the thicker end, so I don't feel like they feel as hollow as some of the other options that I've used before. And the way that the LEDs do shine through on these, they do kind of shine through in the top. When you do have this in a dark room, you still can somewhat see the lettering or the numbers on the keycaps. You do have two switch options when picking up this keyboard. You can either get the Gateron Magnetic Jade Pros or these TTC POM switches. I've talked about both these different versions before. I do kind of feel like the Gaterons give you a little bit better of just a typing experience in general. At least that's my opinion anyways. These TTC switches, however, I do feel like they have a little bit of greater stability with less stem wobble, so there's a solid feeling to them. And though they do add a somewhat clackier sound feeling, I'll go ahead and demonstrate that in the sound test for you here in just a little bit. Again, I have been honestly really enjoying the switches here inside of this keyboard. They feel really nice to game on. And aside from the stability that these switches do offer, they are rated around 35 GF, so they're really nice and fast, and they have a smooth actuation. So to open this case up and get on the inside, there's two things you need to do. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have the 4 screws on the back, And then after you do remove those screws, you will need to remove this wheel. As you can hopefully see here, I'll try and do a close up. There is a little hole here, and they did include the smallest Allen wrench right here that does come included in this bag. You just stick the Allen wrench in here and it just tightens right here onto this. So then you can just simply take this top piece off. This is a very solid chunk of aluminum. And then underneath that, we have a look of this itself. I really enjoy the simplicity of these keyboards when it's really easy to just open up, take apart. There isn't a whole lot of parts to it. But as you can see, this is gasket mounted here. They do like have these, I believe this is like some type of foam pieces up here in the top where it does sit in between the two pieces of the aluminum case. Clearly you can also see that they do have these really thick silicone gaskets right here for some additional noise dampening. But looking at the top here, underneath the aluminum switch plate, you just got some pour on foam, and then right below that you do have the PCB and then an additional piece of pour on foam over here on the rear. And then below that you do have this little plastic sheet that sits on top of this really thick full bottom aluminum piece. All right, so now let's go ahead and we will drop the sound test. I've already gone over this web-based driver several times in my previous videos. However, if this is the first time that you've come to this channel, I'll go and give you a really quick demonstration. You just go and connect the keyboard right here once you do have access to the link. Starting up over here on the first tab is where you have the color option. There's a bunch of different presets here, and it's pretty easy to get set up. Over to the good stuff for the performance tab next up. This is the first part where you can set the actuation point if you wanted to have the rapid trigger just off, or if you want to use the rapid trigger, you enable it like this, and you can actually come in over here to adjust both the actuation point and the key sensitivity settings. So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate that for you here on this tab. In order to do so, you can either individually come in here, select keys, go ahead and hit all keys. As you can see, I do have different settings here. I do have the WASD on the most sensitive settings. I'll go ahead and demonstrate this just by pressing on the W key, hit clear over here, and select that one right there. So for the actuation, you can go as low as 0.2 millimeters, and then after that, you can make adjustments in 0.01 millimeter increments. You can go all the way to 3.3 millimeters with these keys you do have in here. If you're trying to make adjustments by dragging and sliding on your mouse, and you're trying to fine tune the adjustments a little bit more and kind of having a hard time doing so, like if I'm trying to get on one, I just hit it right there. But just give you a demonstration, you can actually just select this and then hit the up or down arrow key on your keyboard to make it easier for you to fine tune. I'll go and leave this at the 0.2 setting since that's what I like to use my WASD on. And then over here for the rapid trigger sensitivity settings, kind of the same thing. The high sensitivity is the 0.01 millimeter. After that, you can go in 0.01 millimeter increments and go all the way up to a 1.8 millimeter increment. Once you have all these settings dialed in on your keys, make sure to hit the save keyboard setting and you're all set. Next up, you do have this release dual trigger mode. I'll go ahead and leave the mouse hovered on there really quick for those of you that did want to read that. And then also you do have the last win. This is just kind of like the SOCD function. I currently do have this set up for the A and D key. I'll go and click on that to show you here really quick. Let me delete this so I can show you how easy this is to set up. All you got to do is just hit A, D, and then hit save to keyboard. You can adjust the trigger points and the sensitivity right here as well. So I'll go ahead and save that really quickly. And then next up, you do have this RT match mode. I kind of like just adjust things manually myself, so I leave this off. And then I do also enable the turbo mode. So this will make it so that your lighting effects do become static, but this does give you the lowest latency possible for the keyboard. And then lastly over here, you do have this keystroke tracking option as well. And then finally over here, you do have the remap key functions, where you can also adjust the function section All right, guys, so that about wraps things up on the A75 Master. And truly, this is one of the keyboards that I was most excited to get my hands on. I was really looking forward to it. And I will say that it doesn't disappoint. I do feel like, however, that the price point this is coming in at $289 is honestly a little high considering the fact that that is the price of the Wooting 80HE. However, they did a really good job just with making this unique with the tempered glass on here. I do kind of wish they had some additional keycaps to remove the stars over here. I don't really mind the star up here on the escape key. I kind of wish that this was just kind of plain over here on the enter key. This does kind of have more of a clackier sound signature to it. So really you're gonna have to decide if that's gonna be something that you're looking for or not. But generally just all around the experience that I've had with this, gaming on it, I love how planted it sits. I just love how premium the overall experience is as you're using this. And again, even though I do like their previous keyboards with like their spring or their custom gasket design systems that they're doing, again, I do appreciate and I do prefer more of a planted type of a keyboard myself. So all around, the style of this is exactly generally what I look for in a keyboard. As far as just the feeling of it and the build in general, I also really admire how it is really easy to take apart. Again, you have to decide on that price point if it's going to be worth it for you, a little bit on the higher end. But if you could definitely pick this up, especially at a good deal. Again, all around, really liking what DrunkDeer has been doing here. The performance on their keyboards is always improving. Software is really easy to use. And yeah, this has been a joy to game on since I've got this on my desk. I've kept it on there. I've had no interest in swapping it out. But I am definitely going to continue using this, as this is now one of my favorite keyboards that is currently out there on the market for a 75% platform. So if you guys do have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.